This is going to be a quick video before the upcoming Dandy's World update. I'm just going to be talking about the future of Dandy's World. This video will be hitting on some harsh topics. If you're not into that, you should probably click away. That being said, I think there's a lot that this game gets right. It's accessible, it's not pay to win, and its community has many creatives keeping the game alive through this game's quirky nature. This upcoming update is probably going to be one of Dandy's World's better updates. More importantly, because we are finally getting new content with a new floor event as well as machine variations. This is something amazing since players, myself included, have always wanted something like this. But the reason I've made this video is because I wanted to hit on important notes and the future state of this game. Dandy's World is slowly dying out, which is natural for any game. But I believe this decline in players is more so indicative of the choices the team is making more so than the fault of anything else. Which sounds harsh, but this is my opinion. Hot take. Machine variations and the new floor event should have been included a while ago, and is something I've and many others anticipated at launch. Many players have came and gone since then, and now we're seeing a bit of decline in the fandom and player base. I believe it was mostly a lack of focus on the core gameplay that got players disinterested, as well as no content for people who've already gotten all the tunes. Now that we are finally getting these core gameplay mechanics, the question is, if this will be enough to bring back players and keep them playing, to which I'm pretty optimistic and think it will for sure bring back some players. But I think in the long term, the decisions made has costed this game a bunch of the momentum it used to have. There was a lot of focus on events. The Christmas event was great, but the team wanted to do another event opposed to actually working on core mechanics, in which I think a lot of players lost interest, since events only last as long as the events take place. Moving forward, the new events existing isn't a bad thing, in fact. It allows the team to work on more things while still having content available for new people or players who haven't gotten all the tunes in that event. I'm excited for what they'll do for Halloween, but there's still a bunch of issues I think the team needs to address. I've dreaded making a critique of this game since there's a lot of fans that'll be disappointed, and I don't even know where to begin. So I'll just go over some of the more important things I think needs to be addressed off the top of my head. And maybe in the future, I can go more in depth about the history of issues Dandy's World has had, along with what they did right. Okay. The fact that this game doesn't have a tutorial is criminal, especially now, if Quell is concerned about progression and getting players to floor 15 consistently. It's essential to have a tutorial. This tutorial shouldn't be simple either. It should be in-depth and teach the player how to avoid twisteds as well as stamina management. A lot of current players can't get past the first few floors because they rely on the distractor to live. This has to be addressed. This is a player issue as well as design issue. There is almost no sense of urgency when players encounter twisteds, almost as if twisteds aren't doing their job at being scary. This devolves into many other issues. This is supposed to be a horror survival game, but since the game becomes repetitive, it doesn't feel that way sometimes. I think a quick fix to some of these issues is simple. and added options so that all the twisteds have sound cues and idle sound effects would be great. As it stands, non-main twisteds all have the same twisted attention sound effect, and most don't have any idle background noise for players to be alerted of their presence. The only other notification we have of a twisted being near is a small eye indicator. I think if mains have idle sound effects, normal twisteds should also be able to have this feature so players are aware of their surroundings. And this feature could add more emphasis of danger to the game. There's also been an inflation of new tunes, which is okay if it were not for the fact that this also hurts progression for new players and makes it harder for them to access new trinkets early game. It also doesn't help that most of these trinkets are really tailored for new players, but they're so niche that it ends up not being helpful at all and being more dead space for the game. This boils down to needing more access to research for players as we get more tunes added. Naturally, we could look into options for less machines early game so that more research gain is possible. Around 2 to 3 machines so progression can build faster. Maybe buff the capsules, indirectly buffing Roger by a percentage, and that'll help a bit of the progression as well. And finally, I think one of the more helpful fixes. I wasn't a proponent for a third trinket slot, but after seeing the oversaturation of these new trinkets in the game, I think it would be easier for the team to just add a third slot and have some restrictions, opposed to buffing all our current trinkets, so that the game could at least have a little diversity in making builds. People arguing against this choice doesn't make sense to me, as I can't see how adding Party Popper or Thinking Cap onto a build with V-Mote and Dog plushie is suddenly going to break the game. Restrictions could look like limiting builds to only having 2 speed trinkets. Other than that, I don't see any way of having a third trinket slot being an issue. If there is, let me know a combination that is super unhealthy for the game. But as far as I can see, there shouldn't be a reason not to add this already unless we are deciding to buff 95% of the trinket pool. I also believe we needed more people working on this game, but for some reason we haven't seen the team expand as much. I'm sure that the team can afford to expand, they just decided not to, which is hurting the game in my opinion. Those were just a few of the things I think the team really needs to work on following this update. The update will be live today at 3 p.m. Est. It's probably going to be one of their best, since we'll be getting new content on machines and a new floor event, which is pretty cool. I think Dandy's World gets character design right, and I love how Quell reaches out to her community. This has just been a list of ideas I've been thinking about for a while, and what I think should be done. Let me know if you agree or disagree, and what you'd like to see from this game in the comments. I'd love to see some input since I do like this game and think some things could be improved. That's all for now until this update. Thanks for watching.